All right, welcome back for another episode of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video and article I do for comicbookinvest.com where I talk about those cheap comics that are still tucked away in those dollar bins, those discount boxes, the cheap books that you can probably still dig out of those boxes that are tied to some of the recent news, rumors, announcements, and most importantly, things going on in the actual comics that came out this past week or so. Hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure that you like, you subscribe, you hit the alert button so you don't miss anything, and keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. And if you want to see this week's rundown of books, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, so for this week, we're just going to get right into it with the actual comics. The comics that came out this week tied into some first appearances of characters that could be playing a bigger role going forward, or maybe just popped in for a minute and you still want to know when they first appeared. That's kind of what I'm doing this as sort of a fun little scavenger hunt type challenge for you. When you're out there digging, maybe you can find some of these books. Yes, a few could sell for a premium, but mostly this is more kind of a little fun thing to do because most of these books are still very cheap, which is why you can probably find them in those discount boxes and those dollar bins. So we're going to start over at DC, and we're going to look at the most recent issue of Nightwing, issue 132. And right there on the cover, we are looking at this villainess that's kind of been, I almost want to say retconned into the histories, but yeah, kind of, sort of. But here we go. Her full-on backstory was given in Nightwing, the 2025 annual. So if you want a little bit more on the origin of this character, how do you say? I want to say her name right. It's Columbina. I don't know. Olivia Pierce is her out of costume name, and she first showed up out of costume. So we're gonna look at that one first before we found out of this Columbina, again, however you pronounce it. I'm sorry. I'm messing it up, but however it's said, let's start first with her appearance as CEO Olivia Pierce, which was in Nightwing number 119, which was not that long ago. Just last year, last October, so a little over a year ago, she first showed up on the scene to kind of mix it up on the current run of Nightwing, and here she is meeting, Dick right there. So, Golden Boy of Bloodhaven, that's right. But there she is, CEO Olivia Pierce. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's kind of a recent book, so it's probably not going to be that cheap, but you know what? It kind of is. It's like cover price or less, and that's what I'm talking about here. You can probably find this book for cover price or less. That's what it sells for, $6 and $2. Copies listed are $2, $2.50, $5. Not a pricey book at all, and it's a decent run if you want to read this one as well. Now, if you want her in costume, it's just a couple issues later. We continue on the story, and you can see she's also teased there on the cover, issue 122, which was January of this year. So again, a little less than a year ago, but right away, we find out that there she is, and her name is Columbina, as in the Commedia dell'arte clown. I don't speak French, so I'm sorry if I'm messing that all up, but it is what it is. This book also not that pricey. You can find them out there. $4.75. I even showed you one of the variant covers because DC has multiple covers these days. So $4, $4.75. Oh, I'm sorry. I got an old slide in there for the what's listed, but basically, again, it's listed for cover price or less. This is not a pricey book at all. So disregard my little oversight there and take a look for this Nightwing book. Now, during this run, there is a Babs Tarr cover that sells for a good bit of money, but I'm going to save that one, put it in my pocket, and talk about that later on a Sneaky Keys one of these days. But for now, look for those Olivia Pierce first if you want to see more of her character, because she's probably going to be hanging around in this run for a little while longer. So now's a good time to pick these up while they're cheap, because you never know. You never know, right? Now, with that said, another DC book that was out this week is their version of the Batman-Deadpool crossover. So, Deadpool-Batman came out of Marvel, Batman-Deadpool coming out of DC. And yes, there were a plethora of covers. But inside the guts of this, we did have a few things story-wise that we could look at. One of which, the appearance of Darkclaw. Yes, the amalgam mashup of Bruce Wayne and Wolverine. That's right. There he is jumping right there at Deadpool. And this is Darkclaw for you right here. Now, popular character from the Amalgam universe. Maybe we see more of that going forward. I like how it's teased here. But most people know it. No Legends of Darklaw #1 came out in February 1996. Amalgam, right there. First issue, right on the cover. Yeah, great. This thing used to be a little hotter than it is now. It's under $10 these days. It's like $6, as you can see. Sales, asking prices, $4, $7, $8. So it's under $10 if you want to go and find one. Not that bad. But realistically, this isn't really the overall first. Yes, character on the cover, first book, first whole run, whatever. Sorry about that. But he was teased in issue 3 of the crossover event here, also in February 96, that actually came out the week prior. So that last issue, Darklaw, came out at the end of February, I think like February 28th. This thing came out like the 22nd or thereabouts. So a week earlier, he was teased along with a bunch of other characters from the Amalgam universe right here in the back of this story in issue 3 of the Marvel versus DC versus Marvel crossover event, from a while back. Pretty cool, right? With that said, yes, it's just that last page splash, but it is what it is. That's Darklaw, and it was a week earlier, so technically first. I know, we're going to go with semantics over cameo versus first full, yada, yada, yada. I'm just showing you what's inside the books. You make of that what you want. But this book sells for like $3 to $5. Asking prices $4, $5, $10 at the most. Yes, newsstand will get you a little bit of a premium on this one, so keep an eye out for that. But otherwise, still a pretty cheap book that you can go dig out of there. The whole run and it's fun too. It's 4 issues. Pick up all 4 if you can. Now, also in this book, there's another character I think I've talked about before, but it doesn't hurt again to go over it again in case people didn't watch those prior shows. So the character in this one I want to talk about is right here, Neron, who is kind of in the background of this Constantine, Doctor Strange little storyline where the two of them are talking and they're going over the, I guess the possibilities of this universe. And in the background, or in this like little bit here and throughout a little bit later, you see Mephisto fighting Neron here. And that's the character we're here to talk about. Neron, which I think we covered him before, but I'm not 100%. A lot of online sources kept pointing to this Manhunter book, and I might have even talked about this before too, but October 1995, Manhunter 11, they keep pointing to this being the first appearance of Neron, and I read through this thing as not good of a comic as this was. I'm sorry, it just was not a great read, and the art was suspect, to say the least, but unless he's one of these demon character type deals that we're looking at here, I couldn't find him because I just couldn't see him in there. But he is a demon possessed, so maybe he was one of those. I don't know. But if you know where he was inside this book, you tell me, because like I said, a couple of online sources pointed to this being Neron's first. I couldn't find him. But maybe there was a retcon along the way somewhere that referred to Neron as being one of these gravity, magnetism, evolutionary input, whatever the hell they're talking about here. But if you want a straightforward first, could be this one, which was September of 95 anyway. So I don't understand why they would point to Manhunter in those online resources when this issue supposedly came out a month before anyway, and he's right there on the cover, Underworld Unleashed. So this, I would have to say, is probably his first. Clearly, inside the book as well. Boom, my name is Neron. There he is. Not a pricey book at all. Very cheap book here. You can look at these prices. 99 cents. And look, one sold for $12. You know what you're saying? Ooh, $12. No, that was $12 for issues 1, 2, and 3, and 3 other specials. That was 6 comic books for $12. Asking prices $2, $4, $5. Again, very cheap book, very cheap first. And the absolute evil is here. Something that DC has come back to a few times over the years. But Neron, again, one of DC's bigger demonish type characters, which is why they had him going head to head with Mephisto in that current storyline. Who knows? Who knows when he might appear again? But with that said, one more DC book to talk about, and that is this DC KO tie-in with Titans. A lot of characters in here because you got all the Titans and you got the Fearsome Five, is it? And a whole bunch of other villains. I think Granny Goodness popped in there. But some character that we can look at their first appearances that are still pretty cheap are here. So they're over at Gem World. So let's look at Amethyst. So here she is in a nice purple gemmy armor pointing out at Gem World. It's Raven and Nightwing. let's look at Amethyst. Well, see, I'm like getting tongue-tied saying it. This is a character that goes all the way back to the 80s. December 1982 in Legion of Superheroes number, what is this? 298, I believe. It's 298 near the end of the run. And it's not in the story of Legion of Superheroes. It's a backup feature that you could see here on the side. See that border? Just like the Teen Titans first in DC Comics Presents. You can see it previewed on the side. Extra, meet the amazing Amethyst, Princess of Gem World, in a special free 16-page comic that they tacked on into the back of the book. So apart from her having that little spot on the cover promoting her little 16-page preview, there is a preview inside. So there you go. Amethyst, Princess of Gem World. I guess this was their answer to She-Ra? But not an expensive book by any stretch of the word. $1, $3 recent sales. Asking prices, $3, $3, $5, etc. Cheap book, you can find at cheap prices. Granted, higher grades going to fetch a higher price, but you know what we're talking about here. These are cheap, fun books that you can go hunt and dig out of a box that have some oddball little firsts that who knows what may come of it. All right, moving on. In this storyline, in that book, we also see Jinx take over as the new Princess of Gem World. Will this be something that sticks? Probably not, but Jinx not only is that little character on Teen Titans Go that everybody probably knows better. That's where I know her better from Teen Titans Go, but she has had a spot in the comics for a good long while as well. So Jinx, here we go. First appearance goes back to May 1985 in issue 56 of Tales of the Teen Titans when we meet the rest of the Fearsome Five. But this is a kind of, sort of, yes, we can argue cameo type appearance because we never really see her. She's referred to, apart from we see her shadowed in silhouette inside a tube where the rest of them kind of save her. So you call that what you want, but that is Jinx inside the tube. It's not revealed until the next issue, but this one is referred to by many as her first appearance because, y'all, it is her. They use her name. That is her, but we never get a good look at her. She's in the tube. But there we go. Copies of this thing sold for $1.59, $2 for a whole lot of books there. Asking prices, well, asking prices are a little bit higher. $8, $8.50, $12.50. You know, not too bad because it is the Fearsome Five. But you do what you want with that information. That was her in a shadowy test tube. If you want her first full, well, you gotta go to the next issue. And again, we're playing semantics with those terms of cameo and full, etc. But it is what it is. In June 1985, we actually do get a look at her here as she's revealed and removed from the test tube that there is Jinx. I personally would probably want this issue more so than the last, but that doesn't mean the last book is meaningless. It's just, it is what it is. Just know what you're buying and what's inside the book. This one also is very, very cheap as we're looking at copies sold for $3, $3, $8, listed $3, $4, $10 on a higher end. Very cheap stuff. Book you can definitely find out there. Also in this Titans book, we see Starfire's sister, Blackfire. That's right, there she is. Blackfire, I forget what their race was called, but commander, I don't know how to say it with their alien accents, I guess. But this is Blackfire. She's been around a good long while too. They even had her in the Titans TV show. Remember that adult-rated Titans version that was on HBO? That was interesting. But Blackfire actually goes back to this, the first appearance of Brother Blood in issue 22 of the new Teen Titans. Yes, April 1982. We do see her at the tail end of this issue. And unlike the Jinx appearance, it is her fully revealed talking about killing her sister. She's also in a couple of panels, like kind of tiny before this one, but the big last page reveal is Blackfire at the end of that issue 22. Now, many people have picked up this book because it is Brother Blood's first as well, and that's usually how it's sold, and some call it a cameo of Blackfire, but $1, $1.40, $2, $6 sales, asking prices like $8 to $10. Again, not pricey at all. And I used to think, I forgot that she was at the tail end of this because I would always look for this book because she's on the cover as being Blackfire's first. Because it's also how they used to introduce characters. Her name is Blackfire. They put it right there on the cover. Two of them facing off. That's old school first appearance stuff. I forgot that she was teased at the end of the issue prior. But she is in the next issue as well throughout the whole thing. So there she is. Grab this one too if you like. It also does about the same, not very pricey. $7 to $12, I guess. It's actually a little bit more expensive with some actual sales. And then asking prices are around $10, $8 to $10, kind of like the last one. Again, these are not expensive books. And because a lot of new books these days are starting to cost, $9 to $10, with the cover prices. So it is what it is. First appearance of Blackfire is not the last. We still have one more in this issue that we could talk about near the end of this. And I know I've talked about this character before, but we've done over 300 of these dollar bin digging videos or articles. So yeah, there's about to be a couple of repeats here and there. And maybe, like I said, you haven't thought about this in a while, but Terra also appears here, rescued by Raven. And she was an old school Benedict Arnold of a sort to the team. But way back, Terra with her Earth powers was first introduced back in that new Teen Titans run right around the same time as Blackfire. A couple issues later with issue 26, also in 1982. And this is here having trouble controlling her powers in her original outfit that kind of had a Galactus thing going on. But there she is. There's Terra. And, you know where it goes from there. With that, this book sold $3, $6, $8, still under $10. Asking prices $7 to $10, not pricey at all, and a decent book, decent first if you can find it. So that's our DC stuff. And before we move on over to Marvel, I want to remind any of you out there who need supplies, use my code RENA10 over at BCW for 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your bags, your boards, your long boxes, your short boxes, CGC boxes, those hard, heavy duty plastic boxes you can carry your books around in, top loaders, pages for your cards, etc. Basically anything to keep your comics or collectibles safe. You could save on your supplies using my code RENA10 over at BCW for 10% off everything. 10% off, you help out the channel, you get yourself a discount. Really got nothing to lose. Now with that, let's check out Marvel's books this week and see if we got some interesting stuff there as well. And here's a kind of a layup one right there on the cover. Plague RX prescribes pain. Yeah, not the greatest name in the world. This mummified doctor type character, but hey, it is what it is. He's not only on the cover, he is. Oh, I'm sorry. This is this is from last week. He is also inside the book. Don't worry. Take my word for it. He's in the book too. But here is Plague RX, who only appeared a few issues ago. So he's not a long-standing Marvel character by any stretch. Some rogues gallery veteran of Spidey's, villain squad. But back in September, just a couple of months ago, in issue 11, or Legacy 975, we did get introduced to Plague RX here. This was an $8 cover price, mind you. So keep that in mind. As I was mentioning, book comics are getting more expensive these days. But inside this book, we actually, this is where I think I screwed up, because I think this is the page reveal for the current issue. I think I overrode the appearance where he was like giving medicine to Shocker, I think, and Tombstone was chilling there too. So I think he's Tombstone's doctor or whatever, or doctor type character. But anyway, this 975 or 11, depending on how you want to look at the numbering, sells for like $8, which is actually, right there at cover price. Asking prices are kind of around $7, which is a little undercover. Who knows what you might find this at? I'm saying you might not find this in a dollar box already, because shops did pay at least, $4 to $5 for this, because they probably paid about 50% of the cover price cost. They may not be looking to take that much of a loss right away, because it's only 2 months old, but you never know. You might find it in a half cover or buy one, get one type of deal. Save yourself some money that way. Who knows? But there you go. 975 is the first appearance of that Plague RX character. Moving on. This week, Punisher, Red Band, number 3. Fun, adult, mature version of Frank Castle. And inside this book, and actually the issue before, we do see that his buddy, from the olden days, Microchip, is actually getting tortured here by Wilson Fisk. And Microchip goes back in the old days of the 80s Punisher. They even had him on the television show. You remember he had that little sidekick guy for a while? That was Microchip, who in the comics has been played a little differently, a little bit older. I mean, even in his OG original appearance in 1987 in Punisher #4, he was introducing Punisher to his kid, who was like a computer hacker or whatever. Junior, my boy. Anyway, Microchip. Microchip helped out the Punisher, sort of as like a guy in the chair, if you will, at times. First appearance in issue 4. This thing goes for about $5-6. Copies sold, copies listed $5 to $10. So once again, not an expensive book, something you can still find for cheap and dig out of a box if you want. And for our last Marvel entry, Nova Centurion came out this week. So more cosmic Marvel stuff, which I'm a fan of. And we got some cosmic cosmic characters here to talk about. Getting all tongue-tied inside this issue of Nova. So we'll start it off first with right here, this guy. Who's this green guy with the sweet white beard? Well, this is his armor accountant or something like that. I forget what he would go by, but this is Albert. So Albert, but maybe we have to hesitate with the 2 A's. Albert only had 2 appearances. He showed up in this book this week, and he showed up, I think, once way back in February 1989 in Marvel Comics Presents. And yeah, in this storyline here, Albert, the raider of race, trader by profession, yada, 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 accountant. I don't know. It's Albert, and he's back. But this book, as you might guess, is not expensive. It is Marvel Comics Presents after all. It's like $2. Copies listed under $2 or as much as $8.50, but with free shipping, that means it's a $2 book because shipping these days is at least $5-6. So it is what it is. There's Albert first appearance. Now, I'm not telling you're going to get rich finding Albert's first appearance, as I mentioned, but it's still kind of fun, right? Still kind of fun to hunt a little first, and you could show off with your friends, and you're a dollar bin digging, be like, his first appearance is in this green dude, Albert. I don't know. I would. With that, another appearance, Cammy. So who is Cammy, you say? Well, she's got a long storied history in the Marvel cosmic side of things, with more ties to Drax than Richard Rider here. But Cammy pulled out near the end of this issue as a prisoner, and we can go back and look at her first appearance in the early 2000s. What was it, 2005? Drax the Destroyer run, first issue of that miniseries. This is not the CM Punk run. This was the Giffen run on the book. And inside this book, oh, damn it, I messed up again. I'm sorry. I half-assed it through getting the slides all ready, but she's inside this book. It is her first. Just take my word for it at this point, because I don't want to go back and edit. I just want to be done with it. And $2 is what this book sells for. $2, $20 for the whole mini, 4 issues. Asking prices $3 to $8. And then the whole mini could be as cheap as $14. Not expensive stuff. One last guy to talk about in this is the big bad teased at the end. Well, I shouldn't say big bad, but a baddie teased at the end of this issue, who we're going to see a little bit more of, and that's this. No, that is not a weird little mustache. It's some sort of tattoos, I think, on this big, hefty, muscle-bound villain. But this is Ravenous, which is kind of a fun name. We know Ravenous from Annihilation, the sequel. I think it was, or was it the original? No, it was Annihilus run. It was the Annihilation run. But anyway, Ravenous here is the guy we're talking about. He first appeared in the Silver Surfer spinoff for Annihilation. Yeah, that first one. So issue 1 of that Silver Surfer spinoff, we got introduced to all these little henchmen that were kind of a wreckage shop ahead of the Annihilation wave. They called them a genocide wave or something. But here's Ravenous leading this team of big brooding villains, if you will. And this is not an expensive book at all. In fact, I found copies that sold for 99 cents and 1 penny. Yeah. Penny. Meanwhile, listings are like $7. So take that for what it is. Again, this is all cheap stuff. You're not going to get rich finding it, but comics can be fun. And if you're reading it, you got some ties to stuff that you're reading right now. You can go back and grab there first in those discount boxes and back issue bins. And with that, I want to thank you for all the support and for taking the time to check out this show. Sorry about all the errors and quick little things that I missed, but I just had a short day today, and I tried to get this done in time for you so I could get it out after SNS tonight. So with that, thank you again for all the support, checking it out. Check out all the other content we have here, and I'll see you all later. All right.